I never thought I'd wake up in my brother's body, staring at my own tear-streaked face in the mirror of his penthouse bathroom, the weight of his tailored Armani suit hanging off me like a noose made of silk. The swap happened in a haze of desperation, some black market neural implant gone wrong during an underground clinic visit in the bowels of Brooklyn, chasing rumors of tech that could rewrite your life like code. But here I was, Dahlia Voss, trapped in Ethan Voss's skin, his 6-foot frame feeling like a prison of muscle and entitlement, while my real body, fragile, scarred from the fall he'd engineered, lay comatose in a Queens motel, wired to machines that beeped like accusations. Ethan had always been the golden boy, the one Dad paraded around boardrooms like a trophy while I scrubbed spreadsheets in the shadows. "You're the brains, D," he'd say, clapping me on the back with that fake big brother grin. But his eyes, they were calculators, always tallying what he could take. When Dad dropped dead from a heart attack 2 years ago, official story. Anyway, the will split Voss Industries 50-50. Clean. Right? Wrong. Ethan waited 3 months. Long enough for the grief to settle like dust. Then leaked doctored emails, making it look like I'd siphoned millions into offshore accounts. IRS audit. FBI raid. The works. I took the fall because I trusted him, because he'd whispered in my ear at Dad's funeral. "We've got this. Cease. Family first. Ungrateful?" That's what he called me from the witness stand, his voice dripping sympathy as the judge slammed the gavel on my 5-year sentence for fraud. But prison? It wasn't the bars that broke me. It was the secret Dad left buried in a safety deposit box. One Ethan cracked open the day after the funeral while I was still numb from the whiskey. Voss Industries wasn't just circuit boards and software patents. It was a front for something darker. Government contracts funneling tech to black ops. Surveillance drones that could hack your soul if you let them. Dad's mistake? He pulled the plug on a project that would have armed cartels south of the border. And they came for payback. Not with bullets, but with leverage, plant evidence on the loyal daughter. Let the son sell it off clean. I found out 6 months into my stretch, scribbled on a contraband napkin from a crooked guard. Ethan hadn't just betrayed me, he'd sold me out to save his own ass, pocketing $200 million from the fire sale to a shadowy conglomerate called Apex Dynamics. The swap was my Hail Mary. I'd scraped together what was left of my commissary fund, funneled through a burner phone to a hacker buddy from Rikers. Neural echo chamber, he called it, a bootleg version of DARPA's mind transfer prototype. The kind of thing Dad's engineers whispered about in late-night labs. One jolt, and boom, souls switched like faulty wires. I came to in Ethan's body, head pounding like a jackhammer on concrete, his Rolex ticking on his wrist like a bomb countdown. My old body, the one he'd ruined, slumped in that motel, for drip-mocking me. I had one shot to make him pay, to unravel the empire he'd built on my bones. But first, I had to play the part. Ethan Voss, CEO of Voss 2.0, the phoenix risen from my ashes. I stepped out of the bathroom, the marble floor cold under Italian loafers that felt like clown shoes. His fiancée, my fiancée now, Lila, was sprawled on the king-sized bed, scrolling TikTok in silk pajamas that cost more than my old apartment's rent. "Babe, you okay? You look off." Her voice was honey over gravel, the kind of southern drawl that masked claws. I forced a smile, Ethan's perfect teeth gleaming in the vanity mirror. Just a long night. Board meeting prep. Lie number 1. And it slid off my tongue like butter. She bought it, rolling over with a yawn. Good. Lila was Ethan's blind spot, ambitious PR shark who'd clawed her way into his orbit, but loyal only to the spotlight. If I played this right, she'd be my first domino. Down in the kitchen, the espresso machine hummed like a co-conspirator. I brewed his usual double shot, oat milk froth, and stared at the steam rising, imagining it as the smoke from the bridge I'd burn. The commute to the office was a blur of chauffeured Lincoln, Manhattan's canyons closing in like jury walls. Voss Tower loomed on Fifth Avenue, all glass and steel, a monolith Dad built from nothing in the 90s boom. Security nodded me through, facial rec didn't catch the soul swap, and I rode the express elevator to the C-suite, heart hammering harder than during my arraignment. The boardroom was a shark tank, gray suits circling, eyes hungry for quarterly projections. Ethan, took the head seat, unfolding the leather folio like it was my birthright. Gentlemen, ladies, I started, channeling his baritone from 1,000 voicemails I'd endured. We're not just surviving the recession, we're devouring it. Nods. Murmurs of approval. But under the table, his hands shook. These were the vultures who'd greenlit the sale, the ones who'd toasted my downfall with vintage scotch. Harold Klein, the grizzled CFO who'd shredded my appeals, Victoria Lang, the Apex rep with her Botox smile and cartel whispers. I laid out the agenda, expansion into AI ethics consulting, ironic, given the blood on our ledgers. Questions flew, and I parried, but my mind was on the real play. Buried in the server farms below, encrypted files on Dad's black projects. If I could access them. Lunch was a power salad at Le Bernardine, Ethan's ritual with Lila. She chattered about her latest influencer collab, oblivious to the storm in my eyes. You sure you're good? You've got that distant look again. I reached across the linen, squeezing her hand, his hand, manicured to perfection. Just thinking about family. You know how Dahlia's been. Writing from the inside. Her laugh was a scalpel. That ungrateful bitch? After what she did to your dad's legacy, let her rot. Rage boiled. But I swallowed it.
Tasting bile.
Ungrateful. The word he'd spat at the family reunion, the one the tabloids splashed like confetti, Voss heiress betrays bloodline, sells out for Cayman cash. Afternoon blurred into calls. Investors wooed. Regulators stonewalled. By 5, I was alone in the office, the city a glittering beast below. I jimmied the executive terminal, old hacker tricks from my pre-prison days, and dove into the archives. There it was, Project Eclipse. Dad's kill order on the drone shipments. Timestamped the week before his heart attack. And an email chain. Ethan to Apex. Subject contingency. Handle the old man if he balks. Frame the girl. She's clean. Believable. My vision tunneled. He'd poisoned Dad. Slow and untraceable. Ricin and the bourbon. And me? Collateral. The scapegoat to keep the feds off his scent. I printed it all, pages whispering like ghosts, and tucked them into my briefcase. Phase 1. Gather the noose. But as the sun dipped, doubt crept in. What if the swap reversed? What if my body flatlined while I wore his like a stolen coat? No time for what-ifs. Ethan, my real body now, puppet by his soul, would wake soon, screaming in that motel hell. Let him. I'd make sure he felt every ounce of the gratitude he preached. Night fell like a verdict. Back at the penthouse, Lila was out at a gala, leaving me to prowl the wine cellar. A 1982 Bordeaux. Dad's favorite. Ethan's now.
2.
I uncorked it, the cork popping like a suppressed gunshot. and poured a glass.
To family.
To betrayal. The first sip was velvet revenge, warming the veins that weren't mine. But footsteps echoed. Security feed on my phone showed a figure at the door. Not Lila. A man in a trench coat, face obscured. Apex cleanup crew? Heart slamming. I grabbed the letter opener from the desk, its edge glinting like justice. The bell rang.
Insistent.
I opened the door. And there he was, me. Dahlia's face.
Pale and wild-eyed.
Ethan's soul glaring through my own eyes. You bitch, he hissed in my voice. Give it back. We stared. Mirrors of madness. He lunged, but I was faster, Ethan's gym-honed reflexes kicking in. I slammed the door, bolted it, and hit the panic button. Sirens wailed distant. But this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. The swap had rules. The hacker said, hold the neural link, or it snaps back. I had 24 hours to end this, or we'd both unravel like bad code. Fine. I'd make every second count. He pounded on the door like a man possessed. My own fists, frail from years of lockdown workouts, thudding against the reinforced oak. Open up. You freak. This is my life. Ethan's voice, shrill through my vocal cords, cracked on the last word. I pressed my ear to the peephole, watching him unravel, pacing the hallway. Designer coat askew. Sweat beading on my forehead, his sweat now. The doorman was en route, but I couldn't risk exposure. Not yet. Go home. Ethan, I called, pitching my voice low. Authoritative, his timbre a weapon. Whatever this is, it's a glitch. We'll fix it tomorrow. Liar. He slammed again, the frame shuddering. I know it's you.
Dahlia.
That clinic. How the hell did you? Footsteps echoed up the stairwell. Security. 2 burly ex-cops in Voss livery. I stepped back as they hauled him away, his curses morphing into sobs that echoed my prison breakdowns. You'll pay for this. Ungrateful. Always the victim. The elevator dinged shut on his rage, and I exhaled, sliding down the wall. His hands trembled, knuckles white around the opener. Close call. Too close. Sleep was a luxury I couldn't afford. I raided Ethan's closet for cashmere sweats, the fabric soft against skin that itched like it didn't belong. In his study, surrounded by first editions he never read, I plotted on a legal pad. Step 1. Neutralize the loose end. I wired $50,000 to the hacker via crypto, enough to vanish him to Vancouver, and texted Lila a cover. Stomach bug. Rain check on Gala. She replied with heart emojis. Clueless. Good. Next, infiltrate Apex. Their gala tonight was black tie bait, the kind of event where deals were sealed over caviar and cocaine whispers. Ethan was expected. I'd go as him. Charm the snake. Extract confessions. Shower first. Hot water scalding this borrowed flesh. Soap lathering over tattoos I'd never seen. A serpent coiling his bicep. Inked in Ibiza during the business trip that bankrupted our R&D fund.
Disgusting.
I toweled off, studying the mirror. Ethan's chiseled jaw. The faint scar from a yacht mishap he blamed on me. Lies layered like varnish. Makeup, Lila's kit, smoothed the edges. Concealer, hiding the pallor of a soul in flux. Tuxedo next. Bow tie a noose I knotted with steady hands. The man in the glass smirked back. Ethan Voss. Untouchable.
But inside,
Dahlia Voss, forged in fire, ready to burn it all. The gala was at the Met, cloaked in Renaissance opulence that screamed old money-laundering new sins. Limos purred curbside, paparazzi flashes popping like gunfire. I stepped out, nodding to the valet. Ethan's swagger automatic. Inside, chandeliers dripped light on gowns and egos. String quartets sawing Vivaldi like a dirge. Lila spotted me first, gliding over in emerald silk that hugged like envy. You made it. Thought you'd bail. Her kiss was lipstick and suspicion, lingering on his cheek. Babe, you smell different. New cologne, aftershave. I lied, inhaling her Chanel. We mingled, handshakes with senators who'd fast-tracked Ethan's pardons, air kisses from starlets he'd bedded post-trial. Then, her, Victoria Lang, Apex's venomous queen, perched at the bar in crimson velvet, martini stem twirling like a stiletto. Ethan, darling, she purred, air-kissing both cheeks. Missed you at the last drop. Her eyes, ice blue and appraising, flicked over me. Up close, she was porcelain cruelty, 50s pushing 60 but holding with Botox and bad intentions. Business as usual. Vic, I replied, signaling for scotch, neat, like him. We clinked, the burn steadying my pulse. Small talk flowed, stock dips, crypto hedges. But I steered, casual as a shark fin. Eclipse still haunting you? Dad's ghost in the machine. Her laugh tinkled, but her grip tightened on the glass. Water under the bridge.
love.
Your father's. Exit cleared the decks. And your sister's little tantrum? Priceless misdirection. There it was, hook set. I leaned in, voice dropping. Speaking of those emails, you kept copies, right? Insurance? She arched a brow, vermilion lips curving. Why the sudden nostalgia? Apex owns Voss now. You're golden. But her eyes darted fear, guilt. I pressed, Ethan's charm a velvet glove. Just tying loose ends. Fed sniffing again. If Dahlia talks from the joint. Victoria waved a hand, diamonds flashing. She won't. Broken things don't bark. Cruelty. Casual as canapes. But she slipped. Check the vault at the club. Your key still works.
Proof of life.
Ethan. Or death. She winked, gliding away to a cluster of suits. Lila tugged my arm. Boring shop talk. Dance, I obliged, her body swaying against mine in a waltz that felt like wrestling ghosts. You're intense tonight, she murmured, breath hot on my neck. Like you're someone else. Alarm bells. Just the scotch talking. But as we spun, I spotted him, my body, drugged and dumped in an alley per the security report buzzing my phone. Ethan, feral in my skin, cornered by cops now. Cuffed. Read writes in a voice that was mine.
Perfect.
Let him taste the system he rigged. Midnight struck. Cinderella's curse. I slipped out. Cab to the private club on Wall Street. Voss members only. Haunt of the betrayal. Keycard buzzed me in. Dim lounge. Cigar haze. Whispers of insider trades. The vault was in back. Retinal scan failing twice before Ethan's eye cooperated. Inside, safety deposit 47. Dad's old number. Files. USBs. A ledger in his scrawl. I pocketed them. Heart racing. Rice and receipts. Laundered through Apex shells. Ethan's signature. Digital and damning. Jackpot. But, as I emerged, shadows moved. Two goons victorious, apex muscle, necks like tree trunks. Mr. Voss, the bigger grunted, meaty hand on my shoulder. MS. Lang says you left early. Loose ends. Panic surged. But Ethan's build held. Judo flip from a forgotten self-defense class. Opener slashing air as warning. I bolted. Vault door slamming behind. Fire stares a gauntlet of echoes. Streets blurred. Rain slicked. Taxis honking fury. I dove into a dive bar off Broadway, nursing a beer in a booth. Files burning holes in my jacket. Dawn crept, gray and guilty. Lila's texts piled. Where are you? XO, I ghosted her. Focus on the endgame. Back at the penthouse. Coastal via private jet?
No.
Too risky. Subway instead. Anonymous in the crush. Home safe. I decrypted the USB on Ethan's laptop. Videos. Grainy, but gut punch. Dad. Slumped in his study, convulsing as Ethan watched from the doorway. Phone recording. For the family, he mutters post-mortem, dialing Victoria. And me, clipped audio from the frame job, Ethan planting the server logs, laughing to a burner. She'll take the heat. Weak link. Tears, his tears hot on my cheeks. I wiped them. Stealing. The board meeting tomorrow, my stage. I'd walk in as Ethan, drop the bomb, watch the empire crumble. But the neural hum built. A migraine warning, link fraying. 12 hours left. Enough to destroy him. Or die trying. The neural itch started at 6 a.m. Like ants marching under my skull. Ethan's memories bleeding through. Childhood Christmases where he'd hog the spotlight. Dad's praise a currency he hoarded. I shook it off in the shower. Steam clouding the glass. But fragments stuck his first kill.
Not Dad.
But a whistleblower from Eclipse. Accident on the Jersey Turnpike. Monster. I dressed for war. Ethan's power suit. Crisp white shirt noosed by a Windsor knot. Breakfast was black coffee. No food, stomach churning with what was mine, and what wasn't. Lila stirred as I passed the bedroom, her voice sleepy thick. Meeting already. I paused. Silhouetted in the doorframe. Big day. Love you. The words tasted like ash, but they bought time. She mumbled back, rolling over. One more lie in the ledger. Voss Tower swallowed me whole. Lobby a cathedral of commerce. Elevator ascent, floors ticking like a fuse. At the boardroom, they waited, Klein nursing an ulcer. Victoria absent but her shadow long. I took the throne. Briefcase heavy as guilt. Agenda's tight, I announced. Ethan's cadence booming. Projections first. Smoke and mirrors. Growth curves fudged with apex kickbacks.
Nods.
Pens scratching. Then.
Pivot.
But before we dive, a family matter. Eyes lifted. Curious. I stood, pacing like he did in depositions, measured, menacing. 2 years ago, Voss Industries didn't just sell, it was gutted. And I know why. Murmurs rippled. Klein coughed. Ethan, this isn't. I silenced him with a raised hand, pulling the ledger. Dad's death wasn't natural. Ricin. Slow burn. And the frame on Dahlia? My doing. Gasps. Chairs scraping. I laid it out, timelines, signatures. The video cued on the projector. Dad's final spasms. Ethan's cold narration. The room froze. Faces paling like indictments. You complicit, I hammered.
Pointing.
Apex puppets. Everyone. Chaos erupted. Shouts. A senator type bolting for the door. Security jammed it, my call. Prepped via Ethan's override codes. FBI's en route. I lied. Buying minutes. Truth? I tipped them anonymously at dawn. Files uploaded to a whistleblower site. Klein lunged, red-faced. You mad? This tanks us. I sidestepped. Ethan's agility a gift. Tanks? It was rotten from the root. Fists flew, his pudgy swing glancing my jaw, but I countered, pinning him to the table. Paper scattering like confetti at a funeral. You signed the orders. Cartels got their drones because of you. He wheezed, spittle flecking my lapel. The rest scattered. Phones out. But jammers hummed, another hack favor. Victoria burst and then, flanked by suits. Her face thunder. Ethan, what the hell? Call it off. I laughed. His laugh, bark without bite. Too late. Vic. The truth's out. Dahlia's innocent. And you're done. She sneered, circling like a barracuda. Innocent? That junkie sister of yours was skimming long before I met you. Dad knew, asked me to clean it up.
Lie?
Or twist. My pulse spiked. Neural static crackling. Bullshit. But doubt wormed in. Dad's late nights. My bonuses vanishing into his investments.
No. Focus.
I hit play on the USB audio. Ethan's voice. Pre-frame. Dahlia's clean. Perfect Patsy. Victoria's eyes widened fractionally. Checkmate. Sirens wailed outside. Real ones. Blues flashing up fifth. The board fractured, some cuffing themselves in surrender. Others pleading deals. Klein sobbed. It was for the company. Irony. Bitter as prison chow. Victoria grabbed my arm. Nails digging. You think this ends me? Apex owns cities. Ethan. You'll wake up in the Hudson. Threat laced with something else. Pity? The neural surge hit then. Vision blurring. Ethan's memories flooding. Her in his bed. Post-dad. Whispering. We did it for us. Accomplice. Lover. I shoved her off. Staggering. Tell the cartels Dahlia says hi. Feds breached. Vests and shouts. Zip-tying the room. I stood amid the ruin. Ethan's body a colossus crumbling. But as agents swarmed Victoria,
She spat.
ask your sister about the ledgers she burned. Dad's real secret. Cuff loosely my plan. Insider tip, I rode downtown in a squad car. City a smear of rain and regret. Interrogation room, fluorescent buzz. Coffee like motor oil. The lead, Agent Ruiz. Lean and Latino with eyes like lasers. Slid the files back. Voss, Ethan, you're singing like a canary. Motive. I leaned in, voice steady. Justice. For my sister. He nodded, scribbling. Dahlia Voss. We'll pull her. If this holds. It held. Prince. Forensics, ricin traces in Dad's talk screen. Overlooked. Ethan's alibis? Swiss cheese. By noon, headline screamed, Voss empire implodes, CEO confesses fratricide plot. Fratricide? Close enough. But the itch was fever now. body rejecting soul. I demanded a hospital run, protocol for suicidal ideations, my cover. Bellevue's psych ward. White walls. The stink of bleach and despair. Hooked to monitors, I waited. Ethan's vitals spiking as mine flatlined in Queens. Doctors poked, probed, neural anomaly.
Like.
Swapping signals. Sci-fi bullshit. But they scanned. Meanwhile, Lila blew up the prison line, my old cell block, where Ethan's soul stewed in Gen Pop, fighting off shivs with my weak arms. Reports trickled, him babbling about body thieves, guards laughing it off as meth dreams.
Sweet.
Victoria lawyered up, but cracks showed, underlings flipping, cartel heat turning south. Apex's stock cratered, bored fleeing like rats. I orchestrated from the hospital bed. Burner phone in 4 tangled fingers, press leaks, asset freezes. Ethan's empire?
Dust.
But Ruiz returned at dusk. Folder thick. One snag. Dahlia's appeals, there's counter-evidence. Forged ledgers in her hand. Dated pre-betrayal. My blood iced. Planted, he shrugged. Maybe. But your father's will? Hidden codicil. Leaves everything to her if she redeems the family name. You knew.
No.
Dad's paranoia. His tests. I'd burned files he ordered. Covering his tracks, not Ethan's, but Dad's own ghosts. Early deals with the very cartels he'd later cross. The mistake I'd shouldered? Not just Ethan's frame. Dad's sins. Laundered through me. Twist like a knife. Ungrateful? Or burdened? Neural storm peaked. Pain like lightning. Vision fracturing. Alarms blared. Code blue. Docks swarmed.
Paddles charging.
Ethan's heart, my vessel, faltered. In the chaos, a whisper, hacker's voice on speaker. Links breaking. Choose, stay or swap.
Stay?
In this killer's shell. Rebuild on blood? Swap back. Exonerated but scarred? I gasped. Back. Jolt ripped through. Souls tearing like Velcro. I woke in my body. Queen's Motel. Tubes snaking. Ethan's form across the room. Comatose now. Monitors flatlining his stolen life. Nurses rushed. But I waved them off. Weak but whole. He's done. Cops outside. Ruiz is doing. The truth? Partial. I'd confess the swap, sanity plea, but the files spoke louder. Ethan woke screaming in custody. My voice accusing. You stole everything. Trial blitz. Media circus. Vos Vendetta trending. I testified. Frail in witness chair. Ethan's empire's ghost circling. Victoria plea bargained. Spilling on cartels. Klein suicided in a cell. Karma's footnote. Verdict, Ethan. Life without parole.
Me?
Acquitted. Voss remnants in trust for redemption. But the codicil haunted. Dad's note. Unsealed. Dahlia. You carried my shadows. Forgive or burn? Debatable. I burned the ledgers. Sold the scraps. Walked away clean. Lila? Ghosted me. Ethan's shadow too long. Free. But fractured. Revenge tasted like ash. Victory hollow. Was I avenger or echo? You decide. Months blurred into a fragile normalcy. The kind stitched from therapy sessions and trust funds I'd clawed back. Exoneration came swift, November headlines. Cold rain on my umbrella as I stepped from the courthouse. Free air tasting like irony. Voss Tower? Condemned. Apex's tentacles severed by DOJ raids that spanned continents. Cartels?
Fed's problem now.
Drones grounded in some Arizona impound. Ethan rotted in Supermax. Appeals denied. His letters, scrawled in my old handwriting, begging forgiveness, I shredded unread. Family first, he'd scrawl.
Hypocrite to the end.
I relocated to Portland, Oregon, rain-soaked reinvention. Far from Manhattan's maw. Coffee roasts and indie bookstores. A bungalow with creaky floors and a cat named Shadow. Irony unintentional. Days, consulting gigs. White hat hacks for nonprofits. Turning dad's tech against the darkness it birthed. Nights. Nightmares of the swap. Ethan's face in mirrors. His memories lingering like ghosts in the machine. The neural scar? Faint hum on bad days. A reminder. Power's illusion. Bodies just vessels. Lila resurfaced via email. 6 months post-verdict. Heard you're out. Coffee? Foreclosure. Closure? Or clause? I met her at a bistro, overlooking the Willamette. Hipsters clacking laptops like typewriters. She looked polished, new job at a green tech startup. Ethan's ring swapped for cubic zirconia. Dahlia, she said. Hugging tentative. Perfume same as that gala night. You look stronger. Small talk skirted the abyss. Her divorce filing. My therapy. Then. The hook. I knew bits. About Eclipse. Ethan confided, bragged. Really? Thought it made him God. Rage flickered. Banked by time. And you stayed. She shrugged. Latte steaming. Ambition's blind. But you? In his skin. That took guts. Or madness. We laughed. Brittle. She slid an envelope. Dad's last letter. The full one. Found it in his safe. For you. I pocketed it. Unfinished coffee cooling. Drive home. Willamette glittering under sodium lamps. Letter burning. At the bungalow. Fire crackling. I slid it open. Dahlia, my shadow daughter. The one who saw the code's cracks. Ethan took the light, you the load. The cartels? My deal. Youth's folly. To fund the dream. When I pulled out, they turned.
Ethan. He chose sides. But you?
You burned the evidence I begged. Shielding me like I never did you. Mistake was mine. Raising wolves. The will's yours if you choose grace. Not grudge. But grudge fits.
2.
Love. The old wolf. Tears blurred ink. Grace? I torched his legacy. Ethan's too. But the company scraps? I funneled to victims' funds. Whistleblowers. Family shattered by drones. Debatable redemption. Phone buzzed. Ruiz. Cartel boss flipped. Names Apex. But also. Boss Senior. Deep ties. No shock. Dad's sins. Generational rot. Thanks, I said. Loose ends. He chuckled. Always. Stay frosty. Voss. Winter deepened. Portland's fog a shroud. I dated. A barista with tattoos and trust issues. Easy as breathing. But Ethan's echoes lingered. Urges to cut corners. Horde wins. Therapy unpacked it, dissociative residue. The shrink called it. You wore him. Part stick. True. I volunteered at a women's prison lit group, reading Austen to lifers, seeing my old self in their eyes. Revenge, one asked, grizzled and gray. Worth it. I paused. Depends. Mine left me hollow, but free. Spring thawed, cherry blossoms pink as false hope. Lila visited. Wine-soaked confessions turning to what-ifs. We could have run it clean. You and me. Tempting.
But no.
Sisters in arms. Maybe weekends hiking Multnomah Falls, laughing over Ethan's follies. She stayed once. Cat curling between us. Talk turning deep. He called you ungrateful to the end, she whispered. In letters from the hole. I snorted. Bought a kettle, but it stung. The label sticking like tar. Climax came unbidden. Parole board rumor. Ethan's appeal on mental duress. Neural anomaly cited. My swap.
Leaked somehow.
Panic clawed. I flew east, incognito in a hoodie. Testifying remote, he knew. Planned it all. Board denied. But the call shook me. Back west. I dug. Hacker's Trail. The clinic's ruins. DARPA whispers official now. Mind tech trials. Was I experiment?
Pawn?
Dad's codicil echoed. Choose grace or grudge. Twist hit like monsoon, anonymous drive. Dropped to my door. Videos, not Ethan's.
But mine.
Pre-prison Dahlia. In Dad's office. Shredding files. My voice. To protect you, Dad. Cartels can't trace this. And his reply. Off mic. Good girl. Ethan's clean, let him shine. I'd shouldered his crime. Not Ethan's alone. Betrayal double-edged. Dad's too. Grooming me as shield while Ethan schemed. The frame? Ethan's twist on Dad's template. Family rot. Root deep. I confronted the mirror. My face, scarred. Mine staring back. Ungrateful?
No.
Unburdened. Finally. I leaked the drive to Ruiz. Full circle. Voss sincere. No empire left to save. Just truth's wreckage.
Ethan?
He hung himself in his cell. Note in my script. Speechless. You win.
Beatgeek.
Or mercy. Debatable. Ending. I burned the bungalow. Metaphoric. Insurance claim and moved to Seattle. Rain's cousin. New firm. Ethical AI. Drones for good. Disaster relief. Not death. Lila? Partner now. Business and bed. Her drawl a bomb. Shadow the cat? Adopted out. Free range. Grace won. Grudge buried. But on stormy nights, neural hum whispers. What if? Readers argue. Justice or cycle. Hero or haunt. I sip bourbon. Dad's vice. Moderated and smile. Speechless?
Nah.
Just starting.